Khushbu, I guess we'll start. We got a total of 130 registrations or so. So I guess people are feeling very lazy coming to seminar because it's Sunday. So I guess we'll start. The people will keep on joining.
Sure, yeah, let's
Yeah,
start.
Yeah.
okay. So, hi guys, welcome to Ace Talks. I'm Khushbu, and this is our very first episode. And so, about 6 months ago, we started this journey at Ace. And the aim was just to explore the candid stories of extraordinary people, from different walks of life. And today, we are featured over 250 stories with an audience of over 6,500 people. And now we are venturing into Ace Talks, and the aim is to create an interactive and learning space for you all. And as I said, this is our very first webinar, and we are really thankful to iLead Kolkata for collaborating with us. And we are going to witness a very insightful session from none other than Ms. Bisruti Podar. So, yes, welcome to ACE Talks. Glad that you all are here. And we have with us Mahima Barasia, who is the student representative of iLead, and she will be moderating the session for the day. So, yes, let's start. Over to you, Mahima.
Thank you so much, Khushbu. Good evening, everyone. We are equally thrilled to have the A Stocks and $99 startup on board as our media partner, and of course, our speaker for the day. So let me quickly give an introduction about the speaker. Vistiti Poddar, a quintessential strategy and a content person, has worked with global organizations as well as renowned startups like Havas Media, Tata AIA, and Facebook.com. She has worked on diverse workshops, training modules, content and social media strategies, and motivational sessions. Being in the industry for 10 years, Pristiti ma'am is extremely result oriented and has been a celebrated content influencer in her space and has been covered widely by Indian media for her popular community paperless postcards that garnered more than a whooping 6 lakh followers. Pristiti ma'am is a four-time TEDx speaker and has also been featured extensively by online and offline media channels like The Quint, Your Story, Indian Express, Times of India, to name a few. Before moving on, I would like to thank our media partner, the $99 Startup, which is basically a brand which has been open to help the startups to grow. If you have a dream of becoming an entrepreneur and do not have the correct knowledge about the market, or you are just worried about a financial condition, then $99 is there to help you and make your dream come true in just $99 a month, which is equivalent to spending almost something on food or other unnecessary stuff that we buy online or offline these days, right? So, without further ado, we'll get start with the session because there's too much to learn from Pristiti ma'am today. The attendees, please feel free to write your opinion in the chat box, and you can simultaneously ask questions if you have. Khushbu, can you please help me with the questions in the chat box?
Yes, yes, sure. I'll let you
Okay.
know.
Okay, we will also have an interactive session in the last 15 minutes, so the attendees can feel free to directly question ma'am if you have any. Okay, so ma'am, can we start?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so ma'am, my first question would be, as we know that we are going through an unprecedented time, a black swan event that has sent shock waves across the global economy from large businesses, houses to small next to door businesses, the COVID-19 pandemic has spared no one. Factories have shut down, supply chains have disrupted, marketing investments have been put out on hold as countries are putting up health and safety above anything else. So, ma'am, what according to you is the new definition of marketing and advertising by brands in these unfortunate times?
So, more than, you know, uh, a set definition per se, I would like to focus on what it really means in these times. Okay, what does advertising really mean or marketing really mean in current times, right? So, I have always heard it from people that customer is the king, right?
Yes,
But in
yes, ma'am.
current times, I think customer is the almighty. So everything that we are currently doing or we intend to do as a brand needs to orient towards or orient around customer retention and loyalty. Because it is far more profitable in the current scenario to focus on focus on your retained customers or existing customers more than getting into acquisition, because acquisition costs are very high right now, right? So a lot of smart brands, I feel if you're a smart brand, most of them are focusing their energies and focusing their energies around agile marketing and empathy marketing. These are the two big keywords in today's times that brands are focusing on. Agile is when you like do a dipstick activity and garner some data by questioning your customers and putting out a questionnaire for your customers that they can fill out, and understanding what your customer needs are currently, and then source opportunities to test the waters, evaluate results, and then iterate your functions, operations, and products and services, and just shift that focus towards iterating that really rapidly. Okay, so that is something around something about agile marketing, wherein we work around insights and examples to customize the products and services or solutions that you offer per se, and personalize those, right? So everything boils down to personalization and customization these days, in the current scenario. Secondly, I believe, and there are a couple of companies that I'm mentoring currently as the head of content with them and strategy. I feel that, and of course, I have had my own company, which was a content based social media community, which did really well in its times. And my experience right now is that it's all about surviving rather than thriving, right? So we just need to stay afloat and survive this pandemic for now, and do all our activities, or have all our activities oriented towards customer building and creating a great, or establish a great connection with the audience that you are catering to. Next is, I think we need to focus on growth more than perfection. A lot of brands, spend or invest a lot of time and money and resources towards striking that sort of perfection, going viral, things like that. But right now, the focus should be more oriented towards how you can grow really well and how you can survive it really well with the kind of audience that you already have, like with the existing audience that you already have for your brand. And then, of course, experiment with some micro marketing campaigns. So I was just reading somewhere and I came across this article wherein they had spoken about how Uber is a great example that carried out micro marketing campaigns wherein it created localized ads. So that had a very, very big impact. So these kind of, instead of, planning ahead into the future, or instead of creating like really, really large campaigns, which are humongous in terms of, investments as well, it's much better to plan micro marketing campaigns, focus on them, and then take your decisions forward. So it's very important to have optimally induced decisions right now. So it's very important to have optimum decisions that brand marketeers should be making in current times. So yeah.
Yes, ma'am, we saw that Swiggy introduced Swiggy Genie, and then Rapido introduced, and then Uber introduced, but there, the app wasn't convenient enough, but Swiggy became the king of Swiggy Genie, because Uber is not convenient,
Right.
Uber Connect at all. Okay.
Right. So because, see, marketing during a pandemic is anyway not easy, because it involves going against standard operating norms, right? So what can you really do when you have to go against those norms that are set by the masters of this universe, which is the advertising universe, right? Because customer behavior is changing tremendously.
Yes,
Their it's undergoing profound changes. Their behavior is going under profound changes, and instead of I feel cutting down on costs, which I believe a lot of people are planning to sort of cut down on costs. It's much better to re-engineer your value proposition that you're already offering, and to be there and to keep reminding them that we exist and we are doing a good job, and to constantly question yourself as a brand what we can offer, and to answer it for their audience, that what is in it for them. So I feel that that's how I look at it right now.
Yes, ma'am. Like just like you said, the companies have significantly reduced their advertising and marketing budgets, blaming the pandemic and labeling them as an unnecessary expenditure. Where on the other hand, a company cannot survive without marketing their products by retaining, consumer loyalty. So will the companies behave like? How will the companies behave in the post-COVID phase in building their brand loyalty again? Will they invest more? Will they, what will be the strategies? Like you will be working with them, the companies that you're working. So what are the strategies that they have in their mind?
So like I said, so we have to first understand, like I opened with this line, that customer is not just the king, he's the almighty right now, and we are all doing whatever it takes to please the customer right now, or retain the customer per se, right, in marketing terms. My next opening line for this would be that any smart business, any smart brand right now will not reduce the spends on advertising. They will not reduce this, because if you're not if a company's marketing spend reduces or gets stalled for a while, right, what it does to the customer, the customer will come under will have a lot of questions regarding the credibility of your business, regarding the fact that your they will have questions about whether you at all care about customer retention, whether you at all care about customer satisfaction. And satisfaction is not enough these days, delight is the word. So customer
Yes.
delight is the key word that every smart brand is or following and harping on. And if you're not present there, and if you're not doing enough activities to gain the customer's confidence, or telling them that so in these current times, the most important thing is to make your customer believe that it's a smart decision to function with them, or buy from them, or instill that kind of confidence in the customers' minds about your brand. So it's very important to gain the confidence of a customer, so that the customer doesn't go anywhere else, and they always prefer you over others, right?
Yes,
So
ma'am.
if you're not doing enough marketing or advertising, and if you're thinking of cutting down on those costs, I think it is very important to have the to constantly remind your customers that what you can really do for them. So if it is not a wise decision, according to me, it is not really a wise decision to cut down on costs. What you can do is that refocus and re-engineer your value proposition, or know where you can spend, identify the sources where you can really invest, and identify the channels where your ideal customers are. And because right now, imagine if I have a brand, I know a lot of my competitors might be actually reducing the costs, or actually reducing their advertising budget. So what I can do is actually leverage that opportunity and increase my share of voice, right? So by increasing my share of voice, it will help me encounter the challenges that I'm facing currently. Because consumers, in a downturn, they want to see whether a brand is empathetic or not. So empathy and solidarity is something that customers are really eager to see from the brands that they are connected with.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
that's
And most of the brands in India choose emotional brands over anything because that is how Indian audiences connect to the.
absolutely. So what the most, the most prudent thing to do right now is to do some data analysis, like I said in the very first point, identifying the channels where your ideal customers are present, and then direct your attention accordingly. So if you know where your, customers are currently, which is social and online, that is the it
Yes,
word.
ma'am.
So we need to direct your attention to those areas, then assess your content and marketing strategy and the messaging that your brand wants to put out there for the customers that they have, right? And a messaging that resonates with the customers big time. Because what you can do right now is to only focus on the must have marketing tools and not have the nice to ones. In a very stable scenario or in a very normal scenario, we would always have a heady blend of must have marketing tools and nice to have marketing tools, right? So what brands
Yes.
can right now do is completely focus their energies on the must have tools so that they are optimally using their revenues that they are investing in the advertising budget. Case in point, again, I was reading up some stuff, and then I was speaking to also some insiders from the industry, and we spoke about this Coca-Cola campaign. They sort of showcase the work of the frontline workers,
Yes,
creating
ma'am.
mini stories about the unsung heroes. And how cool is that? How cool is
Yes.
that? It resonates with everybody. It is very, very riding the current times, right? And it's extremely topical, and it also shows that the brand cares. Yeah, the brand is there in good and bad times both, right? So that kind of empathy marketing, like I said, with something that I began the conversation with, is very critical. So according to Deloitte study, companies have redirected almost half of their marketing budgets towards social media. So like I said, social media is the it channel. Netflix, surprisingly, Netflix has tripled its digital ad spend since COVID hit because the viewership has inflated, which is very, very clear, right? The
Yes.
viewership on the OTT platforms have increased. So Netflix has tripled its digital spend. I would call that a very smart move. Procter and Gamble has increased its spend by 2% in the first quarter, and they saw heavy organic sales because of that. So their ideology is to keep the ideology for any smart brand, or for that matter any brand, should be to keep reminding the customers the benefits of the brand and what you can do for the customers that you already have. So that's extremely essential right now.
Okay, ma'am. So, ma'am, as you said that the smart companies will not cut down their expenditure. So, ma'am, the time when I went out of my home, I saw 2 to 3 companies doing the traditional advertising, for example, billboard or hoarding advertising, and rather not focusing on social media. We did not see Cadbury that much in social media as I saw in the billboards and the hoardings. And I read on LinkedIn also that some people are discussing how Cadbury is doing extensive billboard and hoarding marketing. So, ma'am, why do you think that company are still choosing traditional media over social media? Like few companies, very few companies.
Like I said, see, it's again a brand's agenda, right? I or you will never know what's the agenda really is, unless I'm definitely sure that they would have assessed where their customers are, right? They would have assessed where the opportunities really are. And the biggest point is that they would definitely have assessed that maybe none of the competitors might be doing it, so why not really leverage that opportunity and go out and have it have yourself showcased in form of a billboard, right? So I believe that definitely the wisest thing to do right now is, because it's a simple understanding that people are online, they're shopping online, striking their conversations online, connecting with your brands online, then I think it's it's just very prudent to build a solid community on the social space vis-a-vis having hoardings or billboards. I'm from Mumbai. I love the hoardings and the billboards whenever I cross the sea link, right? But then currently people are not going out. They are all in a lockdown, right? Especially in a city like Mumbai, people are sitting home. They are not, they are not stepping out of their homes. So who is going to see those hoardings and billboards? But then at the same time, they would definitely have identified some opportunities. They would definitely have identified where their where their consumers are, or what their consumers really need, and then they would have probably very intelligently segregated their budgets across across the hoardings and billboards campaigns and stuff like that, or ad campaigns or stuff like that. So like I said, they may have a brand agenda which I'm unaware of, but I'm sure they know what they're doing. I'm sure that people who are the marketing heads at Cadbury would definitely know and would have definitely done that dipstick activity, and collected data, and understood where they need their presence currently, right? So yeah, that's something very important. So but otherwise, I feel as much as it is important to have, as much as was important for Cadbury to probably have hoardings and billboards, it is equally inevitable for any brand to be online, because if you're not online, you are I would say you are losing out on a very big opportunity, because it has experienced a hike or a spike like never before. So if you're not online, if you're not able to tap the customer base which is out there, that you can tap, because if I, from my experience, I've worked with advertising agencies as well as product companies, and I know that billboards and hoardings are much costlier as compared to the digital spends, right? So why not have the have both the things in place, right? So yeah.
Okay, ma'am. So like the advertising space, as you said, has seen an explosive growth in digital content consumption.
Right.
You said that Netflix has spiked up in triple amount of advertising.
Right.
And ironically, coupled with advertising demand being subdued due to the current situation, except for selected categories like health and essential and hygiene products, we have seen a spike in digital marketing as a whole, not only social media, but digital marketing as a whole. So ma'am, do you think that social media has become a hub of advertising more than people sharing their stories? Because social media, except a few apps and sites, social media is to be a place where consumers, like people, like expressing their thoughts and sharing pictures, their moments, as you must be knowing because of paperless postcards, like striking conversation with people, interacting. But I see as it has become a hub of marketing and tapping consumers.
Right.
So, ma'am, like, what is the future of social media in terms of marketing? Like, will it be like this only, just to grab social media's attention? Because we see so many display ads, so many SEM campaigns running through. So, how do you see social media's future in marketing or digital marketing as a whole?
Right. So see, there's a very, I'll share a concept which is called social listening. So if you visit something that you really want to buy, and you just get back to your normal self, and you're just going through some sites and stuff like that, why do you think you see those things again and again? You see that product again and again, right? So brands are engaging a lot in social listening. So social listening is something that brands are very actively engaged in. It could be, social listening could be as simple as replying to a happy customer, or just shifting your entire brand positioning, right? So for example, and a lot of brands, so what is social listening? Social listening is basically tracking your social media for conversations and mentions related to your brand, right? So that you can just tap on that data, analyze that data, review that data, and leverage that data to improve your products. That is one thing. Second, the biggest important thing is that everyone is focusing on customer retention, because customer loyalty is the north star in times of recession or a pandemic. Whether you are putting out a billboard or a hoarding, or whether you are really out there on social media, it's actually all about customer loyalty. Companies that are doing a very good job at customer loyalty will definitely thrive through the situation. And you know, it's extremely critical right now to make your existing customer a part of your larger growth agenda. Correct. So whether you are on social media's future definitely is bright. It's not going anywhere. I believe that most of the brands are actually shifting towards social media, because like I said, when it comes to money, digital spends are much more optimal and much lesser than vis-a-vis the print media or hoardings and billboards that we see, right? The traditional media. So digital media definitely is here to stay. But why is it, who are the people who are doing it really well? That's the question. That should be
Yes.
the question. Instead of thinking that, why is everyone on social media? I feel that the orientation should be, who are the people who are doing it really well? People who are generating the right kind of messaging, the right kind of content, and the right kind of connect with their audience, right? Because see, while acquiring customers is important, a loyal customer, if you are able to establish a connection with a loyal customer, that's your source of steady revenue stream, healthy bottom line, and brand evangelism, right? We need a lot of referrals from our existing customers, right? So if they are happy about a product, if they go, for example, if I availed a particular service and I have some issue, or probably I have some feedback to give, I go online, I tag that particular brand, mention that particular brand, and tell them that, hey, this is my feedback, blah blah blah. The brand, if the brand is spontaneous and quick enough to reply, they have gained a loyal customer, right? So I will go to a couple of my friends and tell them, hey, you know what, here's this a great brand that I got in touch with. I have availed a service from them and I think they are great, and you can do it too. So brand evangelism is something that we need to as a brand focus on big time, because word of mouth is going to play a very important and a very pivotal role in the uncertain times that we are in right now. And like I said, it's very important to instill that kind of confidence in the customers that they're spending their money wisely, right? So and not just and if you are able to solidify their relationship with the customer, I feel the customer churn also goes down. What is customer churn? It's simply the fact that you don't want your customers to go anywhere and just stick to you, right? So in order to reduce the customer churn, so that is something that will also, and loyal, if you are doing a good job in boosting the boosting customer loyalty, you are also boosting repurchase probabilities. For example, if I'm happy with a particular brand, I will go again and again and again to you for buying that product and service. I will not prefer anybody else, right? So what better than having all of it on social media? Because everybody it's a universe in itself, right? Everybody has the freedom to voice out their opinion, talk about trends, get engaged with the topical content. There was a certain hashtag that trended a couple of days back, Binod, right? Right. So I saw so many brands, and even some of my companies, like I'm working with this amazing company called Uniaco, which is the largest student accommodation platform, they also tapped in, and they also created content around Binod. So they
Paytm did.
sorry.
Paytm changed their name on
Yes,
Twitter, and
yes,
then it
yes,
went
exactly.
crazy.
So yes, so we tapped on that trend, and we also created some engaging conversations around that hashtag, and everybody, it was a really breath of fresh air amid such turmoil times. Don't you think so? That's one thing that we should be, as brands. I think brands should focus a lot on trending hashtags, trending topics. Stand up for something that you really believe in. Voice out your opinion in the correct way. For example, I think Oreo did something amazing related to the gay community with its with its product some time back, and that was something really awesome. So they changed the colors of the Oreo according to the LGBT community. So that was an amazing thing to watch on the space. So I feel that if you're doing a good job in terms of your content, you know where you're going and you know what you're delivering to your customers, I feel that's a great takeaway for the customer. Because see, I also believe, having run my own community, Paperless Postcards, the main objective was always for people to come back to us, keep coming back to us because of our stories. People are no more buying, listen to this very carefully, people are no more buying products or services. People are buying stories. People want to be a part of your journey. People want to be a part of your brand story, journey, and community. So if you can, or if you're able to step up your social media game, you are ensuring top of mind brand awareness, right? And that is the key takeaway from being online and doing all the social media activities. So yeah.
Yes, so recently IKEA also started this campaign where the products were labeled with time, and they could buy that product with the time they actually invested in coming from their home to the IKEA platform.
Correct, correct.
That was a mind-blowing strategy. I
Right,
mean,
right. So these are some strategies that, it needs to resonate with the kind of audience that you have. Definitely, it has to be very, very, like I said, it needs to ride on the current issues, right? And it has to, reflect what the customer's needs or demands are currently, and empathizing, getting into their shoes, and reflect the challenges also that the customers are experiencing right now. So if, like I said, the example of Coca-Cola, so because they understood what we are all going through, and to come up with something so amazing like that, I think we all it's a sense of, there's a sense of solidarity. We all came together
yes,
for
ma'am.
that campaign, right? So if you are able to answer the questions, what is in it for me? For example, if I'm an audience and if you are a brand, you must answer, you should have your answers in place, that what is in it for the customer. Like for me, it would be what is in it for me, and you as a brand should probably have your answers in place about how you can help, right? So that is the main agenda more than anything else right now in the COVID times.
Okay, ma'am. We have a question in the chat box from Megha Seth, that how can a brand reach its target audience who lies in the range of 30 to 50 years of bracket right now? Like the brands who are really old and has not, taken up social media as a whole. How can they reach target audience? It's in the chat box, ma'am.
I think a bit of traditional media is still very, very prevalent, right? There has been a significant spike in TV viewership as well, right? So there,
40%,
because we are, sorry.
40% spike in television consumption.
Yes. Yes, because we are all, and this is a data that, anybody will agree with, because we are all sitting at home, what to do, right? I
Yes, ma'am.
have a couple of oldies at my house, and they are more, they have absolutely no clue about OTT is, right? We are very thrilled as youngsters about Netflix and Amazon Prime and Sony Live and stuff like that, but they are still sticking to television, right? So you can, as a brand, they can always focus still on some traditional media like print media. We are still getting newspapers at home, right? So newspapers are really big right now. TV viewership is really big, so why not leverage that? However, I feel that it's not true that people in the age bracket, I am in my early 30s, and I am very, very active on social media, and I'm sure that people in this bracket between 30 to 50, there is a brand that I am working on. It's an American brand, and their target audience primarily is between 30 to 50, and they focus a lot rather on digital ad spends. They're doing webinars to inform people, get them engaged, and creating really, really engaging and very conversational events with these people. But if they are not online, then you can always leverage television and the newspaper media still, because it's still very, very prevalent. Radios are there. Radio consumption is also pretty pretty much decent, if not too much. It's also pretty decent between, especially in the age group of 50s, right? So people in that age group can definitely connect with your brand if you're present across these three channels. So yeah.
Okay, ma'am. So this is a very, personal question, ma'am. Which company, according to you, stood out in advertising and marketing in this pandemic, according to you, and what were the reasons?
See, I think I follow a lot of brands. I can't really put my finger on who did best. Everybody, and a lot of brands like Nike, I would say, and Dove, I would say, IKEA, like we discussed, Coca-Cola, right? They all had their campaigns, individual campaigns, that did superbly well, right? They did superbly well. And then there are some other relevant startups which probably you have not heard of from anyone, but they are also doing their share. But see, the overall perspective is who uses the share of voice in the best way possible, right? Who is able to do that? So I think all of these brands I follow very, very closely, and all of them have done a fabulous job in terms of Oreo, for that matter. They have done a fabulous job in order to not just create their own brand campaigns and generating brand awareness and being top of mind and boosting the recall factor, but I also feel that they have inspired other brands to also follow suit, right? So that is a very very big aspect of this thing. Yeah.
So, ma'am, what suggestions will you give to the students, since 90% of the people here are students, and I actually requested my batchmates who are doing advertising and PR specialization to come up and listen to you. So, ma'am, what suggestion will you give it to them, and what should they do right now as advertising? What should they do? Like, I myself was puzzled. I was doing online courses, but I want to do something else. So what is that we could do in the advertising world right now to get more experience, to know what are the strategies, why should we adopt those strategies except doing online courses or attending colleges or doing internships, for that matter?
Right. No, so I think that Google is our best friend in current times, and but I am a big believer. You mentioned instead of internships, but I am a big believer of internships. I feel the kind of experience that an internship can give you while you work with real-time professionals, you're working on real-time projects, getting those kind of opportunities. And if you can have a mentor in a startup, and it's a great idea to work in a startup, right? To actually, because if you're working in a product company, it's an amazing advantage that you can get, because you are directly dealing with the customer, right? So I'll tell you something about my journey. When I started off, I did several internships for free. There are really fancy stipend that is given to interns these days, but I just did several internships for free because I don't come with a degree in English. That was the irony of the entire scenario. But I was so passionate about writing. I was so passionate and content, and I'm talking about 11 years ago. So I'll divert the topic a little bit and get into the motivational aspect of it, because I feel that more than anything else, there are some traits that you need to focus on to be successful, or to and to identify what you really want to do, right? So I did a lot of several internships. I was written off in my first company itself by my seniors, and then after that, it was very blurry for me. So in order to bounce back and to prove myself that this is the industry that I am going to make a mark in, I did several internships for free just to take and gain the experience, which probably nothing else can give you. No course can give you. Courses can just teach you so much, right? But in order
Yes.
to have the kind of industry experience, before you really enter the real world, I think a great internship is a very, very awesome thing to be in. So yeah. And I think that just stay updated with everything that's going. But overall, for me, it all boils down to being very passionate. So if you're passionate about something, if you're an unmatched passion about something, you will figure out a way to learn, right? So I figured out my ways where I wanted to learn, and I learned a lot, which is why if on my resume or on my CV, on my profile, there are several companies that I've worked with, whether it is Havas Media, which is one of the largest media agencies of the world. I worked on brands like Imami, built great credibility out there. Then I worked with brands like Bewakoof.com, which is a product company, and wherein I was in direct contact with the customers, and we were doing extremely good work connecting with the millennials, because Bewakoof's
Yes,
audience
ma'am.
was primarily millennials, right? Imami's audience was between 30 and 45, right? Mature individuals and stuff
Yes,
like
ma'am.
that. And then several other companies like that. And currently also the companies that I'm working for or I'm mentoring right now, they are all a heady blend of, a variety of or a diverse age group. So there's a lot to learn from everywhere. So because I am so passionate, and I want to be very successful, I want to make a mark, I have always found my way. So I'll tell you a small incident. I left Tata because I had to go to the US for some, I had some plans, but that got stalled, and I was actually, I didn't know what to do after I left Tata, right? And who leaves Tata, a company like Tata AIA, right? And I was in the middle of nowhere, and so what I did, I went to the first employer that I had worked with in Bombay, and I asked her for work. I said, please give me work, because I do not want to sit at home for doing nothing. So that is where, and that is an advertising agency, and like that I scaled up my assignments, and I scaled up, and I right now I have 5 clients that I work for, and all the brands are very different from each other. So even after 10 years, I have extreme drive and extreme passion to learn and grow and to understand what I want to do and achieve, right? So as youngsters, I feel identify that one dream, identify that one passion that you're really passionate about. There are a lot of sectors or verticals in advertising as well, whether it's copywriting, digital marketing, graphic designing, things like that, right? There are a lot of verticals. So identify that one big dream that you have, or you are really, really driven about, kicked about, and then give it whatever it takes. I'm sure that you'll find your way out.
Okay, ma'am.
Um, Thank you so much for that, ma'am. So, ma'am, we have a question from the audience.
Sure.
She's from Shreyanshi. She wants to know that in a competitive market, as these days, what is the best strategy to retain customers?
Okay, so I can talk from the perspective of content, right? So, because content is the king, like I said about customers, right? I feel that content, we usually call it content is the king, but currently content is the kingdom. Okay, like I told about customers, right, that they are the almighty, and and content currently is the kingdom right now. So you need to have a very, very well planned out strategy, short term and long term both, to really win on social media. So what we can do about it: first, like I said, write on current topical content. Discuss, you can probably discuss as a brand about how you are keeping your people safe, and how are you making uh, it a safe environment by doing activities that you can do as a brand, or things that you believe to do as a brand, right? And then educate people and create informative posts. So first is having a very, very conversational strategy in place. Social media is all about snackable content, conversational content that resonates with your audience, connects with your audience. It is very simple. If you're relatable, if you're relevant, you are recommendable. So if you are relevant and relatable, people will recommend you, people will connect with you, people will stay with you. So if you can create conversational content, for example, at Paperless Postcards, these were the traits that uh, created that into a successful community. We were garnering 50 lakh impressions a weekly. So what did we really do specially? What was our specialty? We created conversational contents, non-fiction content that resonated big time with the audience. We created something that people wanted to hear. We created content that people wanted to consume. We created content that people that was highly relatable and something that was happening in their lives. So we went into the customers' shoes and created conversational content that that was a big win for not just us but even for the customers, and which was a big reason that they kept coming back, and our organic growth was very big, right? So second is organized right now. Like we are doing seminars online, so a lot of brands already are doing this, but several of them can still choose to have online events, online webinars to educate people what they're doing, to talk about what's the backstory, talk about things like what's going on, and how they are preparing to deal with the pandemic, maybe, right? Behind the scenes stories of a brand. Like I said, uh, people are not buying products, people are not interested in your products, people are interested in the stories you give them, people are interested in the journey that as a brand you are going through right now. So onboard those customers by creating content online through webinars, events, DIY videos, things like that. I constantly get these videos from Idiva, Glamorous, and these really great startups. They constantly are focusing on DIY beauty tips and things like that, and something which is extremely consumable by someone who has fashion orientation. And even if you are not going out getting ready, what you can do without getting ready, how to look good without getting ready, things like that, right? So these are extremely relatable content that you can generate. Third is vocalize. So if you have a voice, if you as a brand believe in something, please put it out there as a brand, as a strategy. That's a very big strategy. You must voice out your opinion and stand for something you truly believe in. Pick up any issue, whether it's gender gender equality, women empowerment, or LGBT community, or education for women, or any such social issue that you truly believe in, please voice it out. Please talk about it, whether it is through UGC, which is user generated content, create contests, create, engaging campaigns around UGC, which is user generated content, like I said, in order to connect with the audience, or just simply create campaigns around the issues that you truly believe in, talk about it, create awareness around it, empower people about that particular topic, and then in a way they will indirectly connect with your brand, because it's all about making them feel proud of the brand that they are associated with. I want to be proud of the brand that I'm associated with, right? So that is something that you can do. Then that there is innovation, right? How many of you, although it's a little, a sly example, but I would still want to mention it. How many of you have heard of the Rasode Mein Kaun Tha? That song, right? So, that guy, he's a very creative guy, actually. He's a very creative guy, and he has innovated content, and he has given us content amid this scenario, which has gone viral and has gone up to government of India, right? So even the government of India is talking about what he has done. So innovate with what already exists. If you can innovate with something that already exists, if you can strike through a balance between innovation and something that resonates, connects with the brand, and that is something which is current, I think you will kill it on social media. And a topical piece of content, definitely, it shall fly if you can have all these elements in place. Then there is document the also document these things and talk about it, talk about the challenges, make it very personal, be very candid about what you are going through as as part of your challenges as a brand, right? What do you expect from the customers? How do you intend to probably scale your growth or thrive through the entire system? What are your plans as a brand? Talk about all this. So currently, during this time, the most important thing is to just establish customer loyalty. Everything, all of these exercises just boil down to customer loyalty. Yeah.
Okay,
So
ma'am.
I think let us take questions from audience, one or two. If anybody wants to ask anything, please unmute and speak.
Ma'am, I had a question that people like they have come to Instagram. They are talking about algorithms. They are talking about how to break, like find loopholes, how we can penetrate through the social media's algorithms. And since you are social media strategies and have like more than 6 million impressions on your paperless postcards, can you give us some suggestion except content marketing, that how can we actually penetrate through the algorithm and of the social media as a whole? Because I've seen people coming online and starting their blogs and their followers.
Right, right. See, to be very honest and candid with you, organic reach on Facebook as well as Instagram has hit an all-time low. Okay, so definitely, one thing that I always believe in, and something that McKinsey and company had also reinstated, consistency is the key. So if you want to sort of penetrate, the first step is to build something, build a community, build a blog, build whatever you want to. Then constantly generate content that entices the kind of target audience you want to achieve. Okay, so consistently, a lot of people, for example, I've started another channel called That Unideal Girl. It's been a month and there are already close to 1,600 followers now, and everything is organic. I didn't have to do anything. I just put a creative that from the makers of paperless postcards comes another gem. So that's all I did. And I already had a very loyal follower base. So they all joined in, and but what I do is the most important thing I believe as a marketer is consistency. That is the key. So you should not be bogged down or think of any shortcuts, because there aren't any. I don't feel that there are any shortcuts to sort of penetrate and understand the algorithms, because the moment you think you understand the algorithm, they'll change it, right? So it's very tricky. The only one thing that you can win at all times is to consistently create and generate strategies and content out there. And then definitely there are, you also need to constantly run promotional ads on, or boost your posts and things like that, to generate more awareness about. And these are all organic followers, right, that you can probably garner after a certain point of time. And then once you run those posts, promotional boosting on those posts and stuff like that, and you garner that kind of fan base, connect with them one-on-one, read all your DMs, personally go and message them. I feel that's the entirety of the situation, and that's how you can really win on social media.
Okay, ma'am. Ma'am, we have a question from Shagnik Ghosh. Actually, he's mistakenly sent me in the personal chat. He's
Okay.
asking how TikTok ban in India will help Triller to boost their audience in India as well.
How TikTok ban
In India will help Triller to boost their audience in India as well.
See, I am not on TikTok. I am not a big fan of TikTok, but because I feel that I'm more of a fan of channels that provide productive content, content that has some meaning, and content that stirs an emotion inside of me, right? So I don't know if the only thing that I can say is, from an aspect that I'm an Indian and I'm very happy that TikTok is banned because it's a Chinese app. How it can, what was the question? How will it help?
Shagnik, can you please unmute and ask the question?
Triller is just an application. It's like TikTok, but it's not from a Chinese company. It's an American company.
That's all right. I think that he's talking about this one app that is an American app. So how is it going to?
Triller is an app.
Okay.
Yes.
So I'll be honest, I'm not aware of that app. I am not so young. so but I think if they have a great strategy in place, nothing is just going to give you that kind of heightened awareness, or provide that kind of heightened awareness, if you don't have a really good strategy in place, right? So TikTok, I feel it was a UGC app, right? User generated content, right? Triller, yeah, okay. So basically marketing companies in US are running campaigns for Triller. So that is a great thing. If you have, like I said, whatever conversation I've had and whatever insights I shared in the last 1 hour, I feel if you have a great strategy in place, you will garner the kind of customer base and you will profit from the scenario, right? So like why TikTok got famous? Because of the relatability of the content, right? No matter how I am not talking about the quality of the content here, but just for the mere relatability. And I know personally some of my friends, they went bonkers, knowing the fact that TikTok is banned. So what I can say here is, any app or any brand, or for that matter any startup that wants to do well right now on social media, they need to have, particularly if you're a content-led community, right? Whether you are a content-led app, whether you're a content-led startup, whether you are a content-led company, if you have a very strong strategy in place, you are definitely going to profit out from the situation and take it to the next level. So I will look forward to the campaigns that they are doing for Triller, and let's see how they fare, and if they can hit and strike a chord with the. I'm not sure, but I'm assuming the audience will be a millennial audience. So if they can strike a chord with the millennial audience, I'm definitely sure they're going to make a huge mark in the Indian market as well.
Okay. So, ma'am, we have Mom ma'am with us, one of our mentors from iLead. Ma'am, can you say a few words?
Hi, Bishriti.
Hello,
First
ma'am.
of all, welcome to iLead, and I have been listening to you and of course Mahima and Khushbu and all of the others, and it has been a great session.
Thank you
And
so much. My
yeah, it has
pleasure.
been a great session. I am even older than you, and I have not been following TikTok at all. But
Uh-huh.
I kind of feel that TikTok was or still is, but not maybe for us. It was a kind of great leveler because
Mm-hmm.
it was though it was meant for millennials and if we have to find a target age, but I think it made becoming content creators accessible to a lot of people who were previously not there in, let's say, a Facebook or a YouTube.
Right.
That way we saw, I think, a lot of rural representation as well in
Mhm.
TikTok, which I feel uh, I think that was a great thing. And
Yes.
I hope Triller or whichever, even an Indian app which is similar to TikTok, I hope brings at least that about.
Yeah.
And the conversation, and Mahima planned it, I think, that way, that it was more about post COVID. uh, and of course there have been a lot of challenges, and you spoke so well on a and you answered such eloquently about a lot of issues. But as a marketeer myself, and as a person who has been in this industry for a while now, I feel that this is a challenge, and it is a great thing. Almost like, I'm not saying COVID is a great thing, but it is a great thing for the marketeers and the social media managers, and because now again they have to rack their brains and come up with things which if it hadn't happened, they wouldn't have been doing. so I,
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes.
so
Because,
I
yeah.
so I think that's the best part. And even as students who are going to be the future marketeers, as Mahima and everyone here is, I think it's a great opportunity to learn and even figure out some things themselves. uh,
Right.
so I think I just wanted to thank you for coming, and we hope to see you again soon, maybe with a in our campus, and having a session with on a different level altogether. And
Absolutely. I would be really, really, it would be a pleasure.
thank you so much, Brishati. Thank you so much, all the participants. I know it was a tough one. It was Sunday, but the schedules are so difficult nowadays, with online classes and data running out and all of that. We thought Sunday was the only day where we could have a bit of a spot. But thank you everyone for participating, and Ace Talks for coming on board, and of course our media partners as well. So thank you everyone.
Thanks a lot. Thank you, everyone, for
Thank you so
inviting me.
much, ma'am. It's really been a pleasure. And ma'am,
Thank you.
especially Biscuity ma'am, thank you so much for doing this
Yes,
for us,
yes.
for
My
giving us
pleasure.
your time. I'm
My
sure all of
pleasure.
us have taken, many insights, from this. Thank you so much. And
Thank you
guys,
Thanks
so
a lot.
thank you
My
for
pleasure.
being such a nice audience and sharing your evening with us. And yes, please fill out the feedback form. I've shared the link in the chat box, and let us know that your opinion about the session and whom do you want to hear from next. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I hope you are healthy and fine and
Yeah, everyone
Yes.
stay safe,
get through
stay
this
healthy.
pandemic.
Yeah, everyone stay safe.
Yes. Please stay safe, everyone. Thank you so much for being such a lovely audience, hearing me out. And it's been a pleasure being here.
Thanks so much, ma'am.
Thanks.